Good morning. Bright and early for Famitsu Live. Taito's announcing, as we speak, the second Arcade Memories expansion for the Egret II Mini. I just woke up, which works out okay because that means I could at least skip some of the text in quotations that goes on in between the announcements. But I will do my best, because this is all in Japanese, to tell you what's happening. Once I get caught up, I'll start looking at GSK's feed. They do a very good job of keeping tabs on these types of things, so I will probably rely on them to help with some of the things I don't know. But we'll see. I might actually know all 10 games. We know that Night Striker, which is what you see on the screen, is confirmed. They're going to probably lead off with that. So let me go ahead and get situated, and we'll get started. Alright. I haven't started it yet. I'm just going to try to scroll through, but here's a whole bunch of information of what this is going to come with. I will order this as soon as possible. I'm just throwing stuff up here. I could probably work on translation a little bit later, because this makes no sense to me. But let's go ahead and get started with our first title, which we already knew was Night Striker. This was a pretty likely bet for this following the Mega Drive Mini 2, actually, since this was included on that as a Mega CD port. But this is definitely one of the games that I think people were expecting to be on here. In terms of predictions, I have none. I basically got the majority of what I want already on the Egret II Mini. And the Arcade Memories 1 expansion addressed Cleopatra Fortune. So I'm just along for the ride at this point. I just want to see what we've got coming from Taito. And they're pushing the cyber stick thing that I think this is the exact same stick that the Mega Drive Mini 2 was pushing. And it might have been for the exact same game. I think that Sega, when they were doing their stuff, were really wanting to highlight that stick for games like this, and like Afterburner 2 and stuff like that. So it makes sense that Taito is like, you know what, this already exists. Let's have it be compatible. I will say that this definitely looks like the better version. The Mega CD one is definitely trying to catch all of this stuff. Oh, they've got their little Clack and Pop mascot as a joystick. That's adorable. So it looks like we're going to have some peripherals coming out with this thing that I will probably be blissfully ignoring, because this already costs a lot. So yeah, this follows the Darius method of level progression. So you saw there that you can choose between B and C, just like in Darius. I don't think there's any real connection to Night Striker and Darius beyond the level structure. Alright, Return of the Invaders is number 2. And this isn't a surprise. There was very little Space Invaders representation on the original Egret II Mini, just the original game. And there's a lot of spin-offs and sequels that have come out over the years. So this being here is not a big surprise, but it's a good, pleasant addition. Because I think that seeing more Space Invaders games is a good thing. This is clearly Taito's biggest game, I would argue. I mean, it certainly got them so much success and basically put them on the map back in 1979 when this came out, and was one of the most imitated games ever released. So seeing more of Space Invaders goodness is not surprising. I wonder if we'll see 91 as well. That's the thing. It's like they could, if they're only doing these 10 games at a time, they could do a volume 3 very easily. See, I kind of like this little like base mechanic they've got going on here. I think that's kind of neat. You can shoot through. Crime City. They're just kind of rolling right through these. This is kind of nice. I like the snappiness. I don't know much about this game. I don't think this was on the Taito Legends compilations. But this kind of looks like RoboCop, the Data East arcade game, just with original characters and with Taito's flair for things. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I actually kind of like this very simplistic style, and you even have a life meter, so I'll probably like it even more than like Shinobi. Well, that's interesting. So there's actually very minor background elements. So like that barrel just really kind of messed you up. But you have a dodge roll, which actually counts as an attack, which I think is an interesting mechanic. That's actually going to make things really interesting. And then you defeat the boss and all the other guys are like, ah. So this is cool. I've never heard of this game. I don't know anything about it. But I think that's neat. That looks like a fun time. Alright, number 4 is, I know the name of this. It's Cloudmaster was what it was localized into, Chuka Taisen. This is a horizontal shoot 'em up. It's cute. You are a Sun-like Journey to the West character on your magic cloud. And this is one of Taito's examples of cute-em-ups, which, you know, given Taito's proclivity towards cute stuff, like with Bubble Bobble and New Zealand Story and Fairyland Story, a Liquid Adventure or Bonsai Adventure, whatever they call that one. This is not a shock that they would approach a shoot-em-up with that type of aesthetic. So this is cool. I'm happy to see this included. It's also got a store set up, so collecting power-ups is good. That's a very unique power-up. Cool. They're just flying through these. This is like the snappiest reveals I've seen in any of these. Okay, so this is Wardner. They're working with Tatsujin again to release some Toho Plan games because they publish so many of them. And I had a hunch that a couple Toho Plan games would be on here. So seeing this is not a shock. This is kind of a different game than what Toho Plan usually did, because they're really well known for their shoot 'em ups. But they did this action platformer as well. It's actually a pretty well known game in Japan. So I'm glad that the collaboration with Tatsujin is still happening, and we're getting a couple more of their games. I would be a little surprised if we didn't get a Toho Plan shooter of some sort on here, because again, there were so many that were published by Taito. Yeah, this looks like a decent time. It'll all really boil down to how well it controls. But like I said, this is not like a piece of garbage. I wonder what the cape does. Alright, so we got some tricky platforming. Alright, well, we're halfway through the reveals so far. Oh yeah. Okay, so produced by Takumi Corporation. So this is another Tatsujin game. I don't know why the copyright's a little bit different, but this is a sequel to I can't remember. It's off the screen, but like Twin Cobra Tiger Heli. It's in that vein of shoot 'em up. This looks great though. Like, this is definitely the most visually enhanced version of this style of Toho Plan game that I've seen. I wonder, I think M2 recently released this as part of a compilation. So this is cool that it's here. I don't have too much more to really say other than it looks great and I'm excited to try it. I remember really liking Tiger Heli on the NES as a kid, as compromised as that port is. So sitting down with all of these will be really nice. I gotta add some more stuff to my Shoot 'em Up Festival list, obviously. Alright, well, Seta's coming back too. Something UAG. So we got another shoot 'em up. I didn't know that Seta actually made any shoot 'em ups. So this is interesting. This was not on any prior compilation either. Unlike Great Swordsman and Gladiator, or Great Goranios, or whatever it was. So we've got a motorcycle-based shoot 'em up. That's kind of neat. How you expand your shooting options is with a sidecar. That's unique. This certainly stands out just for being different. This isn't the first motorcycle-based shoot 'em up I've seen, but they're not very common. And it looks like you can get different type of sidecars that shoot in different directions. Oh, you can add 2 sidecars. You can have many sidecars on your motorcycle. I will say that set-to games are not usually the most visually impressive, but this is probably one of their most impressive in terms of just aesthetics. So I wonder if we're going to get another set-to-based game on here or not. It looks like you do lose sidecars, so I guess if they get shot, they will break off. I imagine you can only have 2, and it'll attach to whatever side seems more appropriate. Cool. It looks mechanically interesting. Wyvern F-0. From 85. This is one, again, that is new to me. We're back to Taito, like, published, developed stuff. This has a bit of a sci-fi angle to it. Interesting. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by a noise outside. Right, sorry about that. I had a cat rustling through the trash outside. Yeah, I've not heard about this game. It definitely looks early, but it looks interesting. It looks like there's a bit of a speed option. You can go faster or not. And I see loop okay, so I'm assuming that is a means of dodging. But you do get like a secondary ship that attaches onto yours for power-ups. So this could be like a really advanced game in the genre for its time. It's looking like, and I've never heard of it, which that just makes me happy. Oh, and look, it deattaches. This is interesting. So there's like a risk in using that, like you'll get out of hitting stuff. But you lose your secondary ship for a moment and it has to reattach. So that, yeah, this is an interesting game. It definitely looks ahead of its time in terms of some of the mechanics that they're throwing out there. The speed up thing is interesting. It's like, I want more enemies on the screen, please. And you got a barrier, it looks like. This is cool. There's a lot of bombing, so you definitely are going to be making use of 2 modes of attack. This has been a pretty shoot 'em up heavy set, honestly. There's been like 2 things that haven't been, which I'm not complaining about. But this is a lot of stuff that they haven't released before. Oh wow, they're actually doing Operation Wolf on this thing. That's a bit of a surprise. It will work with the control options that are available to you because you'll have the cursor on the screen and you'll be able to move it around. This originally was a light gun game. So I wonder if they're releasing a light gun for the Egret II Mini somehow. No, they're holding up that cyber stick again, so that's clearly one way they're going to really be hyping this is you can control with the stick. Yeah, Operation Wolf is a huge get on this thing because this was a big deal. This was one of like the earliest light gun games that saw success in the arcade, which would lead on to like Virtua Cop and Time Crisis. If Operation Wolf's here, I wonder, I think there's a sequel that's like Thunderbolt. I wonder if they'll include both or they'll just include the one. But this was one I didn't necessarily expect to see, just because of the hardware. But as you can tell, it's a very impressive game for the time. Okay, I don't know how this one is pronounced. It has go-go at the end. This looks like a quiz / mini-game style game. With some pretty early digitized photograph sprites. So yeah, unfortunately, I will probably never play this game since it's all going to be in Japanese. And the quiz portion will be very important. I want to say I've heard of this before. I just don't know what it is. So I'm going to guess that you want to hit the button at a certain point to have it line up with the bird. Yeah. Yeah, this was a pretty common archetype at the time in arcades, was this quiz / extra content. But that does appear to be what they're throwing in here, which I think is great. I wanted to come into this with a pretty open mind, and there's a lot of very interesting games thrown onto this thing. A lot of picks that I've not heard of or did not necessarily anticipate seeing included. So kudos to Taito for mixing it up. But that just leaves so many more games for a potential Volume 3. And we're getting this trailer again because they are wanting to confuse me a lot. But I think this is cool. I'm happy with what this is going to bring. I'm curious about a lot of it. And that's all you could ask for when you're getting an expansion to an arcade mini, is being excited and curious about what's coming next. So thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts as we rolled through things. And I will probably be talking about this in the near future in more detail. Have a great set of days until I see you again, and take care.